My name is Caleb Bright. I was 38 years old, and I worked as a night warehouse clerk. On the evening everything changed. My hands were shaking as I wrapped a small box in brown paper. It was Christmas Eve. The apartment smelled like boiled potatoes and weak chicken broth. The heater clicked but barely worked. Paper snowflakes hung crooked on the walls, cut by my kids with dull scissors. They had tried to make the place feel happy. I let them believe it worked. My 2 kids sat on the floor, whispering guesses about Christmas morning. I smiled, but my chest felt tight. I had only one gift in the whole apartment. Just one. A knock hit the door, sharp, impatient. I already knew who it was. My mother stepped inside without waiting for an invite. Her coat was expensive. Her perfume filled the room, strong and heavy. She scanned the apartment like a judge. "This is it," she said. "This is how you're raising them." I said nothing. Her eyes stopped on the empty space under the tiny tree. "No gifts?" she asked. I swallowed. "I did what I could." She shook her head. "Children don't deserve Christmas when their parents refuse to succeed." My daughter looked down. My son stopped smiling. That's when I picked up the small wrapped box from the table. "This one is mine," I said quietly. "And I want you to open it first." Her eyebrows lifted in surprise. I didn't explain why. I just held it out. My mother stared at the gift like it offended her. "You're giving me your present?" she asked. "Yes," I said. She laughed once, sharp and dry. "Finally. Something sensible." She took the box but didn't open it yet. Instead, she sat down and crossed her legs, looking around again. "I don't understand you," she said. "You work hard but think small. Kindness doesn't feed kids." I had heard those words my whole life. I told the kids to wash their hands for dinner. They obeyed, quiet now. When they left the room, my mother leaned closer. "You still help strangers, don't you?" she asked. "I saw you last week giving food away." I nodded. "He needed it." She rolled her eyes. "Everyone needs something. You can't save them all." She placed the gift box on the table but didn't open it. "What is this?" she asked. "It's just something I kept," I said. Dinner was silent. The soup tasted thin even to me. My mother barely touched it. After eating, she stood up. "I'll stay tonight," she said. "Someone has to teach these kids what real life is." She picked up the gift again. "I'll open it tomorrow morning. Christmas should still feel proper." I watched her carry it into the guest room. That box was the only thing I hadn't sold. When the kids went to bed, I sat alone, staring at the empty table, wondering if giving it away was the worst mistake I had ever made. Or the first right one. Sleep didn't come easy that night. The pipes groaned. The heater clicked. I lay awake thinking about the past few weeks, about the man by the bus stop. I met him every morning on my walk home from work. He wore the same gray coat, too thin for winter. Most people walked past him like he wasn't there. The first time, I gave him coffee. The second time, half my sandwich. After that, it became routine. He never begged. He always said thank you. His eyes were sharp, thoughtful. Too thoughtful for someone everyone ignored. One morning, he handed me back a scarf I'd given him days before. "You'll need this more," he said. I laughed. "I work nights. I'll survive." He smiled like he knew something I didn't. That night, I remembered how he once asked, "Do you believe kindness comes back?" I told him I didn't know. I just did it anyway. Now, lying in bed, I wondered if I was foolish. In the early morning, I heard my mother moving around. Drawers opened. Something thumped. I sat up. Then silence. When I stepped into the hall, her door was open. The bed was made. Her coat was gone. And the gift box was still on the table, unopened. Inside it was something she hadn't seen yet. Something that would change everything. My mother returned an hour later, acting like nothing happened. "Coffee?" she asked. I nodded and watched her hands carefully. She moved slower than usual. Her eyes avoided mine. The kids woke up soon after, excited but unsure. They stared at the empty space under the tree. My mother clapped her hands. "Time for gifts," she said. The kids froze. She looked at me. "Well," I took a breath. "There are no gifts for them this year." Their faces fell. Before they could speak, my mother pushed the box toward me. "Go on," she said. "Tell them why." I picked it up. "This was supposed to be mine," I said slowly. "But I wanted you to open it first." She stiffened. I slid the box back to her. "Please." The room felt tight. Even the kids sensed something was wrong. My mother tore the paper sharply. Inside was a folded letter and a small, worn key taped to it. Her face changed. She read the first line, and her hands began to shake. "What is this?" she whispered. I stayed quiet. The letter slipped from her fingers and hit the floor. She looked up at me like she was seeing me for the first time. "You knew?" she asked. I swallowed. I knew enough. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Outside, a car door slammed. Footsteps stopped near our window. Someone was standing there. A knock came at the door, slow and respectful. I opened it and froze. It was the man from the bus stop. He looked different. Cleaner. Straighter. His gray coat was gone, replaced by a dark jacket. His eyes held the same calm depth. "Good morning, Caleb," he said. My mother gasped behind me. He stepped inside, his shoes quiet on the floor. The kids stared at him, unsure. "I believe this belongs to you," he said, nodding toward the letter. My mother clutched it like it might disappear. "Who are you?" she demanded. He smiled gently. "Someone your son never stopped helping." She turned to me, confusion and fear mixing on her face. The man continued, "I asked for nothing. He gave anyway." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a second key, new, shining. "This is for later," he said. My heart pounded. "For what?" "For the truth," he replied. My mother sank into a chair, breathing hard. The kids moved closer to me, gripping my arms. The man met my eyes. "Christmas is about to begin," he said. And for the first time in years, I believed him. Absolutely. The man from the bus stop sat at our small kitchen table like he belonged there. My mother still hadn't recovered. She kept staring at the letter, reading the same lines again and again. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. "Mom," I said gently, "you should sit." She was already sitting, but she looked like the floor had dropped away beneath her. The man folded his hands. "I didn't plan to come today," he said. "But this felt like the right moment." "For what?" my mother snapped. "To confuse my family." He met her eyes without fear. "To finish something you started." That made her flinch. The kids stood behind me. I felt their fingers grip my shirt. I rested my hands over theirs, steadying us all. I asked him quietly, "Why did you disappear?" He smiled faintly. "Because you were being tested." My mother shot up from her chair. "Tested," she said. "By who?" He looked at her again. "By life. And by choice." She laughed bitterly. "This is a game to you." "No," he said. "It was survival. Yours. And his." He turned to me. "Do you remember what you gave me last Thursday?" I nodded. "My gloves." "You needed them," my mother snapped. "I gave them anyway," I said. He nodded. "That's why I'm here." My mother's voice cracked. "That letter, what does it mean?" He stood. "It means Christmas isn't over yet." Then he walked to the door. "I'll return tonight," he said. "Bring the key." And just like that, he was gone again. The apartment felt smaller after he left. My mother paced the room, her heels tapping hard against the floor. "This is ridiculous," she said. "You let a stranger manipulate you." "He wasn't a stranger," I said. "I knew him." She stopped. "You knew nothing." She held up the letter. "This claims things that can't be true." "It's true," I said softly. Her eyes narrowed. "Then why didn't you tell me?" "Because you never listened." Silence fell between us. The kids finally spoke. "Dad," my son asked, "is Christmas still happening?" I knelt in front of them. "Yes," I said. "Just differently." That afternoon, my mother called someone. She spoke in a low voice, sharp and fast. When she hung up, her face was pale. "I'm going to verify this," she said. "If this is a lie." "It's not," I said. She picked up her coat. "I'll be back." Hours passed. Snow fell heavier. The sky darkened early. I made sandwiches for the kids and told them stories to distract them. Still, worry crept in. By evening, my mother returned. Her hands were shaking again. "It's real," she whispered. "Every word." She looked at me with something new in her eyes. Fear. Dinner that night was quiet again, but different. My mother barely ate. She kept staring at the letter like it might vanish if she looked away. "You could have had everything," she said suddenly. "Why didn't you take it?" I answered honestly. "Because I didn't know it existed." She pressed her lips together. "I did." That hit harder than anything she had said before. "You knew?" I asked. She nodded slowly. "I chose differently." The room felt cold. Later, after the kids slept, she finally spoke again. "That man," she said. "He worked with your father." My breath caught. "He vanished years ago," she continued. "Everyone thought he failed." "And you?" I asked. "I thought kindness was weakness," she said quietly. A knock interrupted us. I opened the door to find a small envelope on the floor. No name. Just the key symbol drawn on the front. Inside was an address. My mother read it and froze. "That place," she whispered. "What is it?" I asked. She looked at me. "The one door I never opened." The address led us across town. Snow crunched under our boots as we stood before a tall iron gate. Lights glowed faintly beyond it. My mother hesitated. "You don't belong here." "Neither did he," I said. "But he came anyway." She sighed and unlocked the gate with the worn key. Inside stood a long building, warm light spilling from its windows. The air smelled of pine and fresh bread. The man from the bus stop waited inside. "You came," he said. He led us down a hall lined with old photos. My father's face appeared again and again, working, smiling, helping. My mother stopped walking. "I told him to stop," she whispered. "I told him it would ruin us." The man turned. "It saved him." He opened a door at the end of the hall. Inside waited something neither of us expected. And suddenly, the past rushed forward. The room was filled with boxes. Hundreds of them. Each labeled by year. Each tied with red string. "What is this?" I asked. The man smiled. "Every Christmas gift your father prepared." My mother covered her mouth. "He never stopped," the man said. "Even when you did." I opened the nearest box. Inside were toys, letters, photos, proof of years of quiet love. "He believed someday you'd understand," the man said. My mother sank to the floor, sobbing. "I was wrong," she whispered. I looked around, heart pounding. "But why me?" I asked. "Why now?" The man met my eyes. "Because you kept giving when you had nothing left." He handed me the second key. "This opens tomorrow," he said. "What happens tomorrow?" I asked. He smiled gently. "Christmas morning." I couldn't sleep that night. The second key sat on the table, gleaming under the faint light. I turned it over again and again, feeling the weight of it in my hand. My mother stayed in her chair, staring at the letter and the tiny key. The kids slept soundly, unaware that something monumental was unfolding around them. In the early hours, I walked to the window. Snow fell thickly outside, covering every street in white. The city looked quiet, but I could feel a storm building inside the apartment, a storm of truth, revelation, and maybe forgiveness. Suddenly, a shadow appeared on the snow. Someone was standing there, waving. The man from the bus stop, now clearly more than he appeared, held a lantern in one hand and a wrapped package in the other. I shivered, not from the cold but from anticipation. My mother finally spoke, voice hoarse. "We have to go. Now." I nodded. The kid stirred but didn't wake. We dressed in silence and followed him through the snow. Each step felt heavy, filled with the weight of unknown secrets. He stopped before a small carriage house at the back of the property. "This is where you'll begin," he said. "The key opens more than a door. It opens understanding." My mother's hand trembled as she reached for the doorknob. When she turned it, the hinges creaked like an old warning. Inside, we found a place that seemed alive, not just with objects but with history. The room smelled like cedar and wax. The walls were lined with shelves filled with small boxes, all tied in faded red ribbon. Dust motes floated in the golden light, giving the place a magical glow. Each box had a name written carefully on it, some dated decades back. My mother ran her fingers along a box labeled with my father's handwriting. I thought he abandoned everything," she whispered. "I didn't know he left this." The man spoke again. "He didn't abandon you. He prepared. He waited for the right people to find these gifts." I picked up a box labeled Caleb, age 5. Inside were tiny wooden blocks, carefully painted, still perfectly preserved. I remembered playing with them as a child, long forgotten, lost in memory. My heart ached. The man's eyes met mine. "Your kindness is a reflection of what he taught you." My mother's tears fell freely. "I judged him wrong. I judged you wrong." A sudden sound from the far corner startled us. A small wooden music box began to play on its own. Its melody was haunting and familiar. "What's happening?" I asked. "The gifts respond to hearts," he said softly. "Kindness awakens them." I swallowed. I realized that this wasn't just storage. This was a testament to love and patience. Something hidden, powerful, and deeply human. The man handed me a large envelope, sealed with wax. "This is yours," he said. "It contains the final instructions." I opened it carefully. Inside was a letter, older than I expected, in my father's handwriting. Every word felt alive, as if he had known this moment would come. My mother leaned closer. "Read it aloud," she whispered. I did. The letter spoke of sacrifice, patience, and the importance of keeping faith in small acts of kindness. It mentioned the mysterious figure, now clear as a guardian, and the significance of generosity when others doubted you. "You see," he said, "your father never wanted you to think wealth or recognition mattered. He wanted you to believe in giving." My mother's hands shook. I never understood that. I thought life was about control, power, appearances. The man nodded. "You weren't alone." He taught the lesson in quiet ways, like Caleb did for me. I realized then that the pattern was unbroken. Kindness circles back, often when least expected. He led us toward the far end of the room, where a massive, locked chest stood. It was old, ornate, and imposing. The second key fit perfectly into its lock. I turned it slowly. The click echoed like a heartbeat. The chest opened to reveal treasures beyond our imagination. Toys, letters, gifts, even old coins and jewelry, carefully preserved. But what hit me the most was a smaller, handwritten note addressed to my mother. She gasped. "It's for me." The note explained everything. Her own father, my grandfather, had prepared something for her future descendants. He had left instructions, money, and items of value meant to reward integrity and care. But he'd hidden it behind acts of patience and kindness, knowing only those who stayed true would unlock it. My mother sank to her knees. She couldn't finish. I put my hand on hers. "It's okay. You don't have to explain. Just feel it." The man watched silently, his calm presence grounding us. "Many fail to see gifts of this kind because they seek proof in the wrong ways," he said. "You both have been tested and passed." My mother's face softened. "All these years, I judged you both too harshly," she said, tears rolling down. "And now I see. Caleb, you were right to give. You were right to trust." I swallowed. My chest felt full. Hope, disbelief, and relief warred inside me. The man motioned to a small box near the chest. "One more thing. Your children must see this." I picked it up. Inside was a collection of tiny, handmade toys, each carved and painted by my father. My kids' eyes would light up. My mother's mouth fell open. You saved Christmas, she whispered. I didn't, I said. He did. And kindness. Outside, the snow had stopped. A faint sun peeked through clouds, as if the world itself was witnessing our transformation. We returned home slowly, carrying the gifts and letters. My mother was silent, processing everything. The kids woke as soon as we stepped inside. Their eyes widened at the boxes I had hidden for them, gifts small but full of meaning. I let my mother open one first. Her fingers trembled as she lifted the lid. Inside were letters written by me over the years, some saved from my own childhood, some documenting small acts of love and hope. She read quietly. Then she looked at me, eyes brimming with tears. You always did more than I knew, she said. The kids circled her, curious. Grandma, do you like it? My daughter asked. My mother nodded, choking on her words. I love it. I see it now. The man from the bus stop had disappeared again, leaving only the warmth of his presence behind. It was as if he had been a shadow of fate, guiding us, reminding us that kindness could unlock even the hardest hearts. I realized then that Christmas had already changed for us. Not because of wealth or gifts, but because truth, patience, and generosity had finally come home. The letter, the keys, and the boxes were not just material, they were symbols. Symbols that good hearts, even under pressure or judgment, are never wasted. And the biggest gift, I understood now, was not under the tree. It was in the hearts of those who finally really saw, what love could do. The next morning, I woke before the kids. My mother was already sitting at the table, staring at the small gifts she had opened the night before. The air smelled of pine from the little tree in the corner and warm bread from the oven. I poured coffee into a chipped mug and handed it to her. She didn't drink. She just looked at me, her eyes soft and unreadable. Caleb, she said, do you know why he chose you? I shook my head. Because I gave him something without expecting anything. She nodded slowly. I see that now. But he, whoever he is, didn't just choose you randomly. He's testing me too. Her words made my stomach tighten. Tests. More tests. And yet, I felt ready. I had lived my life in small, quiet acts of kindness. Now, I was about to see if it was enough. A soft knock interrupted our thoughts. The man's voice came from the doorway. The next step begins. Will you follow? Without hesitation, I nodded. My mother hesitated, then followed. The kids were still asleep, oblivious to the unfolding mystery outside their bedroom doors. The snow from the previous day had hardened, crunching under our boots as we followed the path he had marked. Every step felt heavy with anticipation. At the end of the narrow street, he stopped. This place holds what you need, he said. But only the worthy may enter. I took a deep breath, my fingers tightening on the worn key. My mother whispered, we are about to learn everything. I pushed open the door, and the world inside was unlike anything I had expected. The room was enormous. Candlelight danced along the walls, reflecting off hundreds of old photographs, letters, and wooden carvings. Each object seemed alive, vibrating with history. Your father built this for those who never lost hope, the man said. And now it's your turn. I stepped forward. Dust floated in the air, catching the light like tiny stars. My mother followed, speechless, tracing her fingers along the carved shelves. The man handed me another small key. This opens a chest. Inside is the gift that will decide everything. My heart thumped. I glanced at my mother. Her eyes were wide with disbelief and awe. I inserted the key into the chest. It clicked, and I slowly lifted the lid. Inside lay stacks of letters, old journals, and envelopes filled with cash, bonds, and items of value, but that wasn't what caught my attention. At the very center was a small wooden box, carefully carved and locked with a tiny gold latch. I picked it up, feeling its weight, and looked at my mother. This is for us, I said. The man nodded. But first, you must face a choice. Give it to someone who deserves it, or keep it. My mother swallowed hard, her hands shaking. We must do the right thing, she said. The room seemed to hold its breath. The moment felt infinite, as if every decision we had ever made led to this instant. I opened the small wooden box slowly. Inside were photographs of my father with people I had never met, faces of children, families, and strangers he had helped throughout his life. Beneath the photos were letters, handwritten with care, telling the story of each act of generosity. "You see," the man said softly, "your father wanted to remind you that kindness is never wasted." My mother's eyes filled with tears. "I judged him wrong. I judged you wrong. All these years, I thought generosity was weakness." I nodded. "It isn't. I've seen it in small ways all my life. And now." I turned to the letters at the bottom of the box. One envelope was addressed to my children. Inside were carefully chosen toys, small gold coins, and a note explaining how much they were loved and worthy. The man stepped back. "Your actions unlocked this. You gave, even when it hurt, even when no one noticed." My mother finally fell to her knees. "Caleb, I can't believe this." The man smiled faintly. "Believe it. It's real. And it's yours to continue." Outside, the sky was brighter now. Snow melted under the faint sun, as if the world itself celebrated this moment of revelation. But the surprises weren't over. A final letter rested in the chest, addressed directly to me. I unfolded the letter with trembling hands. It was from my father, written decades ago. "Caleb," it began, "if you are reading this, it means you have remained true to kindness. You have given even when it was hard, even when it seemed pointless. This is your reward. Do not squander it." My eyes widened. The letter detailed a small inheritance, trusts, and the location of rare family items meant to help me secure my children's future. The man watched silently. "Everything your father wanted for you, and more, is now in your hands." My mother's voice was almost a whisper. This is life-changing." I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. "It is. And it's all because we chose to act with kindness." The man gestured toward a corner of the room. "There's one more thing before you leave." I followed him, heart hammering. On a pedestal sat a wooden box, sealed with gold trim. I recognized the carvings, our family's emblem, intertwined with tiny hearts. The man smiled. "Open it when you are ready." I hesitated. The weight of anticipation was unbearable. Outside, the faint sound of children laughing reached us, reminding me of the real reason all of this mattered. I lifted the gold-trimmed box slowly. Inside were gifts for my children, handmade toys, books, and letters written by my father explaining how much he loved them and how proud he would have been to watch them grow. My mother gasped. They deserve this," she whispered. "They do," I said softly. "And so do we." The man handed me a final note. "Remember, this is more than material. It's proof that integrity and generosity are never wasted." We carried the boxes home carefully, feeling the warmth of a truth we had never known. The kids woke just as we entered, eyes wide with excitement. We let them open one gift at a time. Each toy, each note, each coin, told a story of love, patience, and sacrifice. My mother sat back, tears streaming down her face. I can't believe I judged you so harshly. I see now. Generosity isn't weakness. It's strength." The man stepped outside silently, vanishing into the bright morning, leaving behind only the sense of wonder and the truth that kindness always returns, often in ways you cannot imagine. I held my children close. Christmas had finally come. Not just in gifts, but in hearts, restored and awakened. The next morning, I woke early. The apartment smelled of fresh bread and pine. The children were still asleep, but I could hear my mother moving in the kitchen. She was humming softly, a sound I had never heard from her before. I joined her. She handed me a cup of coffee without saying a word. Her eyes were bright, almost gentle, and there was no trace of the criticism that had filled our home for years. "Caleb," she said finally, "I want to do something." "Do what?" I asked. She looked down at the gifts for the kids. "I want them to see me as someone who cares, really cares." I nodded. It was a simple wish, but monumental. She had spent decades judging, criticizing, and withholding love. Now, she wanted to give freely. I smiled, feeling a warmth I hadn't felt since childhood. Then let's do it together. We arranged the gifts under the little tree, placing them carefully. Each toy, each coin, each letter became a symbol of new beginnings. Outside, snow melted into streams of sunlight, painting the world golden. The man's presence lingered in my mind, reminding me that sometimes the most extraordinary guidance comes through the quietest acts. The children woke and rushed to the tree. Their eyes sparkled, and laughter filled the room. My mother knelt beside them, helping them unwrap gifts, reading the notes aloud with a tenderness I had never seen before. I watched her, stunned. Her transformation was complete. She had become part of the story she had once criticized, finally understanding the weight of love, patience, and integrity. The man returned briefly, standing at the doorway. He didn't speak, but his smile said everything. He nodded toward us and then vanished again, like a shadow dissolving into the morning light. My mother held the children close. "You see," she said softly, "I was wrong. You have always deserved love and happiness. And so do they." I felt tears sting my eyes. I realized that Christmas had become something more than gifts. It had become a testimony to faith, courage, and enduring kindness. The kids hugged both of us, their small arms reminding me that miracles aren't always loud or dramatic. They are often quiet, unfolding in the right hearts at the right moment. Later that day, the man returned one final time. He carried a large envelope, sealed and heavy. My mother looked at him with awe and respect. "This is your father's final gift," he said. "It's more than money or objects. It's a map to understanding, legacy, and life's deeper truths." I opened the envelope with trembling hands. Inside were deeds to a small property, savings accounts, and a journal detailing decades of acts meant to teach humility, courage, and generosity. My father had built a bridge from the past to ensure we would never struggle again. My mother gasped. "All this, and I judged him, judged you, judged everything?" I held her hand. "It doesn't matter anymore. The point is that kindness outlives cruelty. And generosity always comes back, in ways we never expect." The man stepped back, letting us absorb the moment. The room seemed to glow, golden light reflecting off every surface. I realized finally that the real reward wasn't wealth or inheritance. It was witnessing hearts transform, including my mother's. We spent the afternoon unpacking the final gifts, letters, and treasures. Each note told a story, each small item held a memory or lesson. My mother laughed, cried, and apologized repeatedly to the children and me. "You have no idea how much I underestimated you," she said. "And now I see. Every act of kindness, every patient word, every moment of giving mattered." The children hugged her, not as a distant grandmother, but as someone who had truly opened her heart. I felt a deep sense of pride, not in gifts or wealth, but in the love we had all reclaimed. Outside, the snow sparkled under the low sun. The apartment felt warm and alive. I watched my mother teaching the kids a simple game she had never taken time to learn before. I knew in that moment that nothing would ever be the same. Life had changed, not because we were given, but because we were ready to receive and understand the true meaning of generosity. That night, after the kids were asleep, my mother and I sat by the tree, holding the small box that had started it all. "I judged you wrongly," she said quietly. "All those years, I couldn't see what mattered." "You do now," I said. She nodded. "Yes. And I will remember this. The power of giving, of trust, and of patience. Your father was right. You were right. I am finally learning it too." I felt a wave of relief and love wash over me. Christmas had become more than gifts. It had become a story of redemption, understanding, and lasting change. The man from the bus stop had disappeared for the final time, leaving only proof that kindness can create miracles. I looked at my children sleeping peacefully and my mother beside me, transformed. I understood then, generosity can never be shamed. Integrity always returns. And the greatest gift isn't what's in the box, it's the hearts finally able to see it. I smiled. Christmas had finally come. And for the first time, it felt perfect.